First, a quick reset. LaFerrari wasn't just another special. The original LaFerrari, launched in 2013, was a halo car that did exactly what such cars must. It showcased Ferrari's best technology, compressed astonishing performance into an arresting design, and created a market sensation because Ferrari limited production and made the result almost unobtainable to regular buyers. Fast forward to the 2020s and Ferrari's move toward hybridization, motorsport-linked innovation, and careful navigation of stricter emissions and safety regulations has changed the rules but not the stakes. The 2026 tag that keeps appearing online is a shorthand for the brand reincarnating that halo model idea for a new era, one where hybrid systems and electronics aren't optional extras but the essential ingredients of a hypercar's authority. However, it's important to be honest up front. As of now, Ferrari has not published a definitive, all-encompassing spec sheet calling the model LaFerrari 2026. Much of what circulates today combines Ferrari's official direction toward hybridized, motorsport-derived architecture with a mix of credible industry reporting and enthusiastic rumor. Treat the specific numbers you'll hear on Enthusiast channels as probable, not gospel. So what should a modern LaFerrari be, in spirit and engineering? Imagine a car conceived as a synthesis of everything Ferrari has learned about extracting power from small displacement, high-revving engines, integrating electric motors for instantaneous torque, efficiency and four-wheel control, and packaging all of that with razor-sharp aerodynamics and obsessive chassis calibration. Where the 2013 car married a V12 with a KERS-like hybrid system, the 2026 era interpretation, if it follows Ferrari's recent trajectory, would likely emphasize a lighter, more compact internal combustion core coupled with multiple electric motors and sophisticated torque vectoring. That way Ferrari keeps the sensory soul of an engine while using electrification to amplify low-end shove and improve drivability around town and on racetracks. Ferrari's recent flagship concept work, notably engineering lessons from the F80 and other advanced projects, shows the company pushing hybrid and electric frontiers without abandoning the signature engine experience that buyers expect. Performance figures have become the battleground for prestige, and online speculation places any LaFerrari successor firmly in the 1,000-plus horsepower club. Several automotive rumor pages and aftermarket commentators have gone even further, predicting combined outputs in the 1,100–1,200 horsepower range thanks to multi-motor hybrid setups paired to a potent combustion engine. What's telling isn't just a raw horsepower headline but how that power is delivered. Sub-2 second 0 to 60 mph times, quarter-mile results that embarrass even purpose-built drag machines, and top speeds that sit well above 200 miles per hour. Whether all that translates to everyday usability or is merely headline-grabbing is another question, but for a hypercar it's the headlines that most buyers and viewers want. Again, these performance numbers remain in the realm of well-sourced rumor and enthusiast projection rather than an official Ferrari press release. Beyond straight-line shock value, a LaFerrari class hypercar in 2026 will be judged on its chassis intelligence, active aero that morphs to cooling and downforce demands, brakes and regenerative strategies that balance thermal limits with energy recovery, and steering and suspension systems tuned to the microsecond-level control you find in race cars. Ferrari has increasingly borrowed directly from its motorsport programs, and the F1-inspired electronics, everything from hybrid energy management to advanced traction control and brake-by-wire systems, will likely be integral. That means a machine that, when piloted by a human, feels like an extension of intent. The car's software interprets and amplifies driver commands rather than blocking them with bland safety netting. For a YouTube video, this is where cinematic footage of active winglets, brake glow, and close-up cockpit shots earns the most engagement. Viewers want to feel the logic that connects throttle input to downforce, not just see the 0 to 60 stat. Design-wise, a modern LaFerrari will walk a tightrope between continuity and reinvention. Expect a silhouette that's unmistakably Ferrari. Long nose, muscular haunches and a cabin pushed forward for aerodynamic benefit, yet refined around details that only today's manufacturing can accomplish. Complex carbon fiber sculpting, active vents and ducts, and optical treatments that read more like sculpture than parts. The new generation of Ferraris heads toward cleaner lines and more integrated aerodynamic elements. Think of surfaces that are both aesthetic statements and functional downforce generators. For a YouTube feature, slow panning shots over negative space on the bodywork, close-ups of carbon weave, and tight cuts on active aero elements will sell the impression of brutal beauty far more surely than static three-quarter shots alone. If you make a video about the LaFerrari 2026, you'll also have to talk money and exclusivity. Hypercars have become part concours showpiece, part investment class. Rumors and early industry write-ups put a potential starting price well into the high seven-figure territory for a limited-run LaFerrari successor. Some outlets suggest multi-million-dollar price points and the likelihood that nearly every car will be pre-allocated to Ferrari's existing clientele long before the car reaches press demo circuits. The economics of limited production hypercars are straightforward. Ferrari keeps production intentionally tiny to preserve brand mystique and to support aftermarket values. If you want to make a segment on ownership, include interviews or quotes about the buying process, resale trends, and how manufacturers like Ferrari manage allocation. Viewers love the inside scoop on how to get one, almost as much as the car itself. There's also the entropy of authenticity. What makes a LaFerrari a LaFerrari is a certain mix of visceral auditory satisfaction and unfiltered mechanical honesty. Ferrari's engineers are painfully aware of what a V12, or any combustion engine, means for the brand's identity. The recent corporate messaging has emphasized continuation of V12s, V8s, and V6s alongside hybrids, rather than a wholesale pivot to battery-only vehicles. That decision has implications. Ferrari can keep delivering those high-rev music cues that purists treasure while gradually integrating electrification in ways that enhance performance without smothering the sensory experience. For your viewers, capturing that exhaust note recorded properly with good microphones, the raw mechanical clatter and cockpit barks will be gold. It's also worth mentioning that Ferrari's strategy is pragmatic, balancing regulation and technology, an important talking point when you discuss how the brand will navigate emissions rules while preserving the tactile core of its cars. But what about electrification? The heat around EVs has only intensified. Ferrari has signaled a future that includes full electric models, but the timeline and the lineup mix are more nuanced than simple EV versus ICE headlines. The company has delayed some EV plans in response to market realities and has emphasized hybrids as the bridge technology. A LaFerrari successor built as a hybrid makes sense as an evolutionary step. Use electric torque to plug RPM gaps. Deploy stored energy for bursts, and harvest braking energy to improve lap consistency. Also, by using electric motors for front axle torque vectoring, the car can vastly improve cornering precision and traction off the line. For content creators, the hybrid debate gives a great narrative juxtaposition. Show a clip about raw, analog thrills, then cut to a segment that explains how electrics make the car faster, safer and more efficient without ruining the sound. That tension plays well in both comment sections and watch time metrics. Let's talk track behavior. Hypercars today are not just toys for freighted boulevards, they are ongoing experiments in thermodynamics and software. Expect a LaFerrari successor to include features such as torque vectoring, adaptive damping with predictive modes, and driver aids calibrated to different levels, from race to urban, where the car's internal systems remap throttle response, ABS thresholds, and energy recovery priorities. For a YouTube video aimed at enthusiasts, include telemetry overlays, G-meter displays, and an explanation of what changes between modes. Show the car's regenerative braking in action with telemetry and thermal camera cutaways if possible. That's a higher effort segment but one that converts casual viewers into devotees because it demystifies technology. Safety and compliance will also dictate engineering choices. Modern homologation rules, pedestrian safety concerns and crashworthiness place limits on how raw a hypercar can be, but manufacturers like Ferrari compensate with smarter packaging, energy-absorbing crash structures that tuck under the body, sensor arrays for stability, and redundancies for drive-by-wire systems. That means the new LaFerrari will be a paradox, safer at the edge than previous generations yet still terrifyingly fast when unleashed. For storytelling, this is an opportunity to interview engineers or use factory footage to explain how the car balances fragility and invincibility. On the subject of ownership experience, hypercars today offer bespoke services that are as much about personalization as they are about utility. Expect one-off configurations, coach-built options, and tie-ins with Ferrari's tailor-made program where buyers collaborate with designers to create living artworks that also function as cars. This is great for thumbnails. Highlight a radical color, a custom interior, or a bespoke wheel design in close-up to make viewers pause. Add a short segment about the empathy economy of hypercars, how owners form tight relationships with dealers,